It is June 7th, and the General Assembly's session has ended. And I'm Mark Stewart Greenstein here to answer a big question. Are progressives getting the blue wave they voted for? Answer, as much as possible, yes. And temporarily, yes. Hopefully, not permanent. We'll talk about that. The blue wave proposals for socializing so much of our society is afoot nationally and in the state itself. But here's where the blue wave crashes against reality. That people who are moving to distribute via the tax scheme aren't getting very far, okay? The most that the legislature and Governor Lamont were able to do is potentially expand the types of things the income, not the income, the sales tax covers, okay? That is perceived as regressive, but that's all they're getting. No increase in the sales tax rate, no income tax rate increase, no beverage tax, no change in the bottle tax, no tolls, at least for now. Reality hits that people won't pay for things that the state doesn't do right, which is the vast majority of things. A few things did go through, okay? This was sneaky, but there's a pass-through tax on small business that's extracting now 13% instead of 8% of a small percentage. It's not a huge amount, but without big light shined on it, that went through, more revenue to the state. $12 a year for home insurance that is going to fund people across Eastern Connecticut who have foundations that are crumbling. I actually think that's a pretty conservative and good proposal. It deserved to have light. I think it deserved to go through. Mansions tax over $2 million. Since it's such a small number of people and only when they're selling on a one-time basis, it's not a huge effect. Other things have not gone through. And once again, reality is going to keep a lot of these things from going through. At the federal level, even progressive legislators vote against their own reality when it comes time to vote, for example, on the Green New Deal, a ridiculous proposal. Ridiculous, for my SAT students, from the word ridicule, to make fun of. So many of these progressive leaders who don't vote for things in actuality, they know they're ridiculous and they're posturing. Posturing does get some votes. It certainly gets media attention. So the progressive leaders ride a wave of breathless, swooning, wow, we have to make big change. Look, this started 4 years ago with Bernie Sanders getting rave reviews and breathless followers. Progressive change sounds appealing. Nobody likes glass ceilings. Nobody wants young women to be financially unable to be good mothers. Nobody wants a permanent class of underclass of workers. Nobody wants children to go without good schooling. So I don't begrudge media for exposing these proposals, even outlandish ones like the Green New Deal. But it's for us to scrutinize and to not buy in. It's for us to avoid saying what seems popular is necessarily good. In all cases, it's for us to assess, even if it's good, to measure the cost. And even if the cost is low, to still measure whether another group other than government could be doing that better. I ask to do that all the time. For all of us, when there's a cost involved, we should do the math. And there's some math that progressive proposals do that even fifth graders will say, this is way wrong. Okay, even a fifth grader can say that lavish pensions over time end up bankrupting the state. Even a fifth grader can know that paid medical leave, the way it's been proposed and thus just recently passed, cannot sustain itself at just a 0.5% extraction. It either falls on its face or they have to go up to 4.5 or 5% extractions. Social Security at the national level, it is clear, is unsustainable. And here we have quisling legislators. They don't want to tackle the problems, Republicans or Democrats. The closest we had in my lifetime to tackling the Social Security imbalance 15 years ago, George W. Bush really wanted to rein in what we know is a whacked system that cannot sustain itself, that if it did try to meet all its promises, people who are now in their 20s, when they start working into their 50s, they'd be paying 70% of their income on Social Security. It's not sustainable. It will have to be reformed, and more people are going to be the losers when push comes to shove. They've put it off for a long time. Look, the more immediate things won't go through because it's so ridiculous to have a Green New Deal. Single payer health care, also ridiculous, but there's a lot of, again, posturing that sounds nice. Oh, nobody will go without health care. Look, nobody goes without emergency care right now. The reality behind things is that you are trying to take care of yourself. You're not going to be put out on the street. Things like Social Security, which are so far down the line and less tangible than somebody like passing out on the street and needing emergency evacuation, they tend to get put off. So that wave has not yet crashed against reality. The blue wave is starting to, thank goodness, and it's for us to expose it every single time a wave starts to build and threatens to crest on our homes. We need protection, the protection, I think, of good, informed reality, telling the world that we either can't afford it or can afford it, but shouldn't want the government doing it. I'm Mark Stewart.